up guys, it's Jennifer. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I want to talk about something that is very, very, very important to me. And it's something that has been on my mind for a while, and it's something that I really just want to share and talk about. So as you can see from the title, this is about developing a healthy relationship with food, how to do it, why it's important to do that. I get a lot of questions like in person just about what I should eat, what I shouldn't eat. And it tells me that there is just this unhealthy relationship that people have with food, and it's something that I really think that needs to be looked at and worked on. So I think a common thing that people hear now is that, food is fuel and you're supposed to eat food to fuel your body and stuff like that. And I totally agree with that. I think that food is fuel and food gives you energy, but I think that it's important to remember that food is fuel, but food is also fun. When we get into this mindset of just eating food because it gives us energy, it takes the fun out of food. You know what I mean? Like, we have taste buds for a reason. There is a reason like spices and herbs are out there. I don't think we should just look at food as just fuel, because when we eat something that is tasty or like flavorful, we think, oh, this isn't good for us, or why should I eat this, or this has too much sauce on it. It's just like ridiculous. So this is something that is really hard for me and something that I had to kind of think about and think through. But don't use food as a source of punishment or as a source of reward. Now, I say that with caution because I do believe that food can somewhat be a reward, because you go out to eat when it's your birthday. You go out to eat when you're hanging out with friends. It's just a thing that gives you pleasure. However, I feel like when we see food as something that should be taken away or given, I think that's when the unhealthy relationship starts. I've heard so many people say like, oh, I ate so bad last night, or I ate so bad this weekend, I'm just going to do a cleanse this whole week, or I'm not going to eat at all on Monday. Like, I've heard these things before, and I'm not like throwing shade at them, because I have been in the same position. I may have had just way too much to eat over the weekend. So on Monday, I'm just going to like have smoothies all day. And that's just, it really puts you in a mindset of, I'm not supposed to eat this. So because I did, I'm now going to deprive myself. And just going back to point number one, food is supposed to be fun. Like, it isn't supposed to be something that should cause you so much guilt and so much like shame. So if you want to reward yourself for, doing well, or you want to reward yourself for, I don't know, getting a promotion at work, or, getting a raise or something like that, and you want to go out to dinner, I think that's totally fine, because food is meant to be fun. However, I don't think food should be viewed as something that you have to take away from yourself, because that's totally unhealthy. I think another thing that we have to come to terms with is understanding why we overeat, and then also understanding why we may undereat. Now, for me, my issue was always overeating, which led to me sometimes undereating. And for me, it was like based on two things. For one, it was just really habitual. It was something that I was just always doing. Like, I always overate because I didn't really think about it. I just ate because food was there. Like, for example, as a kid, if I have like a bowl of cereal, I may have 2 bowls of cereal, or if I'm eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, after I finish it, I'll make another one. And it was just because I wanted it. It wasn't like, oh, because I need to fulfill this emotional thing in my life. It was just, oh, there's food, well, let's just keep eating, because like I said earlier, food can be fun. As I got older though, food really became a source of comfort for me. It was something that was pleasurable, something that made me feel good. So whenever I was like sad or frustrated or like feeling really lonely, I would just eat, because food is great. Food makes you feel good, and I wanted to feel good. I remember it got to a point where I was like, okay, this is becoming like a problem, and I was talking with someone about it, and she was like, maybe you should seek help about it or something, because it was really getting to a point where I felt like it was consuming me. And I had to stop and think like, what is going on in my head? What are my thoughts? What thoughts am I allowing to dwell? And how can I now change that? One piece of advice that my mentor gave me that really just honestly changed my thinking altogether, she told me, she was like, don't give yourself a reason to overeat. Like, even because it's Thanksgiving, that doesn't mean you should eat until you hate yourself. just because it's your birthday, that doesn't mean that you should, eat like crazy. And I think that really changed my thinking. But also, what I had to come to terms with is dealing with the emotions that I was going through and dealing with the thoughts that were in my head. Another thing that I think is really important is taking it one meal at a time. So don't dwell on your meal in the past, and don't dwell on the meal that's coming up. And I say that because I think sometimes we will tailor what we eat based on what we had a few hours ago, or based on what's coming up in the future. And I think that's fine to some extent, but I think it becomes unhealthy when it's something that really weighs on you and something that really causes you this sense of like tension inside. So if your last meal was like maybe pizza, french fries, blah, 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 wings, and now you're thinking, okay, I should only eat just these vegetables because I just ate really bad, or I'm going to eat really big later, so I should eat just this really, really small thing now. And to some degree, that makes sense. But again, if it's something that causes you shame and guilt, that's when it becomes unhealthy. Now, this next one is something you should take with caution. I made a video about MyFitnessPal, and I still support MyFitnessPal. I think it's a great app. However, when it comes to wanting to make a healthy relationship with food, you think you have to use food trackers with caution, because it can put you in two different mindsets of, okay, this is helping me see how much I really do eat, so I know what I should not eat, I know what I should eat. Or it could put you in another mindset of like, oh my gosh, I ate too much, or oh my gosh, that's just so many calories. It can kind of pull you one way or another. I'll say for me, it really helped me a lot, but it also really hurt me a lot. When I first started using it, I thought it was a really great tool for me to see like my macros, because that was something that I've never like delved into before. So it really helped me to see, how many macros I was eating, and also the calories, and that was cool. But over time, it really became very obsessive, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like, that was too much, or I only have this much left, or I shouldn't have eaten it at lunch. And it was just this thing that was like always on my mind, and it was just not good for me. But now, as I'm using it, I see it as such a benefit, because it lets me see that it is okay if I have like a meal from Popeyes, because it's not going to totally throw me off my game. It's okay if I have, that extra bit of something, because it really doesn't add up to much anyway. It really helped me see like you could just calm down a little bit and live. Now, this is something that I think is so important, so important, and that is not shaming your food and not shaming other people's food. Stop food shaming. This is something that really got under my skin a lot, especially when I first started eating healthy. Like, some people will say, oh, that's what you're eating for lunch, or they will ask me, or there will be food out, and they'll be like, oh, Jennifer don't want that because she eats like this. And it's just like, really? Like, for one, okay, I appreciate that you are taking into consideration my eating habits, but I think when the way it is said and the intent of what it said comes across as really snarky and just really like shady, And also, when you like shame yourself for what you're eating, like say someone brought in donuts at work, or say someone, brought in cake at work, and there's like, it's for everyone there. Or, your friends brought food for everyone, or whatever it may be, and you think like, oh, I shouldn't eat that, and you kind of try and stay away from it. No, like, enjoy the food. Like, food is supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be exciting, and it's something that turns into this source of contention for us, and it's so frustrating, and it's so sad, honestly. Another thing is, don't be ruled by all these rules, There's just like so many ridiculous rules to me, like, don't eat past 7 o'clock. You shouldn't eat that because that food is bad. I really had to take a moment and like stop and tell myself, there's no such thing as a food that is bad or a food that is good. The way I see it now is, this food is nutriently dense, and this food may not be so nutriently dense. I really had to stop and take a moment and change my verbiage, I guess you can say, in my head, because I would say, oh, I'm having a treat meal or I'm having a cheat meal. And that's just not correct, honestly, at this point in my life anymore, because when you say treat meal or when you say cheat meal, that means that this is something that you should not have all the time, and that the other food you had during the week is something that you should always be eating. You know, this treat meal is something that you worked hard for and that you deserved. And it puts shame on you, or it can put shame on you when you maybe have this treat meal earlier in the week, or you have it, you know, sometime other than the weekend. And that's just not, it's so unhealthy, because it creates this sense of guilt when you have pizza like on a Tuesday or something like that. And it's just like, it really shouldn't be that deep. Like I said earlier, food's supposed to be fun. So to say that something is a treat meal or a cheat meal and this is something that you wouldn't normally eat all the time, it just really sets you up for this sense of guilt and shame that you don't need. Another like really funny one I always hear is like, don't eat past 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. or whatever it is. And I think scientifically that there is some support to that, because it kind of puts you in a fasted state, because you're fasting, you know, through the night and, you know, into the early morning. So I understand scientifically how that may work, but I really think that that can really set up people for failure, especially people who don't eat a lot during the day and they have like a lot of calories and macros left at the end of the day. And I just think it's ridiculous. That used to be a rule that I would follow. Like, I want to eat past a certain time because I thought that it just, you know, wasn't good for me. And I had to realize, like, that's ridiculous. Like, I'm not going to deprive myself of having something to eat because, oh, the clock says this. What? I just think it is so important to develop a good relationship with food, because food is honestly never going to leave. You know, food will always be around. You know, food is such a big part of our lives. You know, like when you gather together, there's typically food. You know, when you wake up, you eat, and you go through your day, you eat, you snack, and you have dinner, and you hang out with friends, and you eat. It's such a part of our lives. And I think that we need to get out of this mindset of good versus bad, treat meal versus, you know, healthy foods. And it really messes with your mind, and it really doesn't allow you to just live life and just enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. I know it was a bit like all over the place and kind of chatty, but it's something that I'm honestly really passionate about, and something that I really want people to just get in their minds. But if you're new to my channel, hello, welcome to my channel. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and check the description section for my links. It should also be somewhere on the screen, just my Snapchat and my Instagram and my Twitter. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I genuinely appreciate it, and you guys will see me in a new video very soon. Bye guys.